Welcome to the pod you are listening to. What the Reality with me, Cashay Roberts, slash watching me. If you guys are on YouTube, make sure you leave a comment. I had to bring my vanity chair up. You guys, I went into this show already bookmarking stuff. We already had hits. We already have a lot of stuff to talk about. But I will say the Housewives last week, the end of last week, did not fail me. They were consistently dropping new information. Like it was nonstop. Like if it wasn't the Porsha stuff I was going to talk about, it was going to be the Mia Thornton stuff I was going to talk about. Then it was going to be the biggest bombshell of it all. Kandi Burruss, Todd Tucker are going their separate ways. And we are going to talk about it literally all because what the heck is happening? If it's not Potomac, it's literally Atlanta. If it's not Atlanta, it's Salt Lake. If it's not Salt Lake, it's literally Real Housewives of New York City. Okay, so before we get into Housewives updates, we're going to talk about, I said last Tuesday that I was going to talk about the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives in general. I finished the season. I finished Selling the OC. I'm not talking about Selling the OC, but I did finish the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. We'll talk a little bit about that. I'm going to talk a little bit about Salt Lake City this last episode. Nothing major, just like Mary's, church return. And then we're really diving into Potomac because I took more notes on that one, of course. And like I said, by the time I film, Potomac's just so fresh. And I have some thoughts. About Potomac. I gotta record some TikToks. Make sure you guys follow me on TikTok. We're gonna hop right into it. There's a lot of reality topics. I should call it just reality housewives topics because that's really all I'm talking about. And then I wanted to mention something else. Before we even get into the reality topics, I want to talk about what I've been watching. So I have now watched The Beast in Me on Netflix. I would 110 recommend. It was a really good series. Essentially, it is about this writer, author, who is living in this house alone. And, her life is pretty fucked up, to say the least. I just don't know what else to say. Okay, so her son unfortunately passed away because of a drunk driver. They were driving and this drunk driver crashed into them. So now she's in this very bitter phase of her life where she's blaming everyone but herself. But you guys have to watch it to see. But she's just, and you're in a bitter phase of life when you just take out your anger on everyone. She has these new neighbors move in. His name's now Jarvis, Nina Jarvis. The Jarvises, they own huge properties, real estate or whatever. And this now Jarvis guy has now moved to the middle of nowhere. Keep in mind, they're in the suburbs, kind of they're in the countryside of New York City. They are not in the city. So the Jarvises have now moved from the city to the countryside to escape the nastiness and the rumors of him literally, as he was he was never a suspect, I don't think, in his ex-wife's disappearance, but there was a disappearance. The body was never found. And we soon to find out that Jarvis has this beast in him, essentially. And this isn't the first body he's done, his ex-wife. And he kind of makes it a habit of the series of burying new bodies and people disappearing. And essentially, the author, who we are, who's I guess you would say the protagonist, is she the protagonist? I guess you would say they form an unlikely friendship and become very close. And she essentially convinces him to do a tell-all book and explain his side of things because he remains innocent. But it just ends up super twisted because, he ends up doing so much more. He is a killer, and he even does stuff to even protect our protagonist, and kind of spins it as if she's also sick in the head. So I don't know. I just think it's a really good show. I try to give a good synopsis without giving away too much, but it's on Netflix. It's been trending all weekend, and I like to watch the trending stuff. It's a limited series, 8 episodes. You're in, you're out super quick. Not quick though, because the episodes were 50 plus minutes. They were full runtime, no commercials. But besides The Beast in Me, I have an obsession with It. If I could literally become any villain, or not even a villain, I think my favorite villain is probably the Joker or It the Clown. And I don't say it in a, oh my gosh, I'm scared way, because I'm scared either way. Like, they are scary people to me. But when I look at villains across the board, and I was listening to a podcast, I was listening to Poor Minds podcast, which is so good. And they were talking about like what's a villain you think you could beat. And I don't think I could beat the It Clown or the Joker, but I just think those are like my two favorite villains. So It the Clown is back 6 years later, and we are now watching a prequel series. It's called Welcome to Derry on HBO Max, and it is so good. I had to rewatch episode 4, and I'm going to rewatch episode 5 tonight. It is so good. I actually binged that. I think I binged it on Friday or on Sunday, one of the days. I think it was Friday, and there was like 4 episodes out, and then I am now caught up to like the regular programming. I don't know if there's going to be 8 or 10 episodes, but it's really good. It basically shows how the Clown was really thought of, how he was brought into this twisted world. And it just proves the Native Americans have always been trying to warn us about this. And I think this even goes into Sinners. Like, if you guys know, like, Sinners is probably like one of my favorite movies of all times, and that had a very big like Native American presence on there as well. But on Welcome to Derry, the Native Americans are essentially like, do not go past these pillars. This thing is being kept within these pillars, and nobody wants to listen. Everybody wants to go in the woods. Everyone wants to go hunting for this thing. And when you go hunting, this is what you find. So we're basically just learning the origins of It the Clown. I think it's really good. Taylor Page is in there, who I know her from Hit the Floor. That's like VH1 vintage dramatic show. It was like a sitcom. I don't know if it was a sitcom, but it was like a 1 hour show. It was very drama filled. It was like based on like a cheerleader turned, NBA pro cheerleader. And that Hit the Floor used to be really good before it went to BET. I think it went to BET or something. After it was off of VH1, it did something and it was updated. It was terrible. But Taylor Page is in it. Some other actors, I think she's like the only actor I would know, obviously It the Clown, but that is really good. It's not that scary, and that's why I think I like It the Clown. That's why I like Joker, because they're not that scary. They're not just like chasing you for no reason. But though, that's what I've been watching. 110 recommend both. I really do like Welcome to Derry on HBO Max. I think it's a really good show, and I just think it's a really good prequel series, and it's done right. I'm always hoping for like more seasons, but it's pretty rare that that'll happen. I'm sure it's like a limited series, but that's what I've been watching. Now I want to get into the reality topics. I had to just tell you guys what I've been watching, because the reality topics, I just cannot keep up. This might also be another supersized episodes. We're starting off with the biggest headline of the weekend, which is that Kandi Burruss and Todd Tucker are literally separated. So this is the thing. I was on Twitter, and I probably said this Tuesday. There was a blast on Tuesday. There's been some blind items, though, I feel like the past 2-3 months of like, Trouble in Paradise. They haven't said names, so they said this East Coast housewife is actually, don't be shocked if you hear a divorce announcement. There's been things and people have been trying to place it together. I never really placed it was Todd and Kandi until the recent blind item. But these blind items have been going on for the past 3 months, keep in mind. But I didn't know what East Coast housewife they were talking about. I was really confused. So there was a blind item placed on Twitter on Tuesday by this account. I think it's like Celebrity Finds or something. And it was like Kandi had removed her, not her maiden name. She had removed her married name from her Instagram. And we all know she goes by Kandi Burruss Tucker. hyphenated. Okay. So I was just kind of like, okay, Trouble in Paradise. I made note of that on Tuesday, but I do know at BravoCon, she did thank him in her lifetime speech. There was no love lost there. But I did say it was weird that Todd was not there because, in my opinion, and if Eddie Osefo can show up at BravoCon with Wendy Osefo in the midst of those allegations, which we're going to get into because there's been new findings in that, I was just like, why isn't Todd Tucker at BravoCon for this lifetime achievement award? Is something huge, especially with like, it's more than Bravo, it's NBCU, Universal. That's a place he used to work. Like, I just feel like a lot of people were like, oh, like he just didn't make it. I was just like, why wouldn't he be there if this is like a huge thing for her? So that was like signal for me. That I wrote that literally down in my notes, you guys, and I kid you not. When did the news break about Kandi and Todd? I think the news broke Friday. I think it was literally Friday, November 21st. Let me see. I'm pretty sure it was Friday. So I wrote that down Tuesday. November 21st is Friday, and that's when the news dropped that Real Housewives of Atlanta alum Kandi Burruss, Todd Tucker, split after 11 years of marriage. Mic drop. Let's read the statement. This is what she posted on Instagram. No, this was an exclusive statement with People. So I'm reading the original article that was published on Friday. So TMZ did not get this. This was exclusively told to People. And I don't know if you guys know how print digital media works. For you to give the exclusive to a magazine versus, just filing the papers and some media outlet picking up, this was planned. And in order to get this exclusive, you are paid a good price. It's like exclusive pregnancy photos, like when celebrities do that. Like, if you're giving an outlet exclusive pregnancy photo, they're paying you. So she was paid for this statement from People magazine. I don't know. I mean, it clearly was a good amount. You know what I mean? If this is the exclusive, no other outlets had this. You know what I mean? So that's how exclusivity works, at least when it comes to digital media. So this is what it said. It said, after deep thought and a lot of prayer, I made the decision to move forward with a divorce. Period. This is a difficult and emotional time, but my focus remains on protecting my peace, being the best mother I can be, and co-parenting with love and respect. I'm stepping into a new chapter, pouring into my work, my family, and my own growth. I'm grateful to everyone who supported us throughout the years, and I ask for privacy, grace, and understanding as we navigate this transition with our family. And I guess I'll just read. They've been together. They met in 2011. Remember, they met on the show through Phaedra. He was the producer actually on Real Housewives of Atlanta. This was during season 4, I believe, of Real Housewives of Atlanta in 2011. Phaedra's like, and remember when Kandi got that reading done in Africa or something? They were like, he's always with you. He was always with her. He was one of the producers. Phaedra introduced them to each other. Remember, Mama Joyce was like, why would you introduce two short people with big heads with each other? I still agree with that, because why? And the rest was history. Like, they were dating 2011, they got engaged 2013, and they had a very uphill battle. A lot of people thought Todd was an opportunist and a con man. Mama Joyce notoriously did not like him. I don't think Kandi Coded Crew really cared for him initially. Riley kind of struggled to form a relationship with him. Obviously, like, it worked out, and they eventually ended up having 2 kids together. One via surrogate. That surrogate was the same surrogate for Shamia on Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16 or whatever. And, unfortunately, that surrogate got cancer. And now Shamia's daughter has a lot of issues. She's not blaming the surrogate. She doesn't know what it is, but I'm assuming you could guess, like, if the surrogate got cancer while the surrogate was pregnant with your child, obviously there would be some child or like birth defects. So it's just all coming back together. But essentially, Kandi and Todd have had a very uphill battle. So this is my personal opinion. It's going to be a maybe controversial one. I don't really care. but I genuinely don't think it was not a successful marriage. Okay, so look, they made it 10 years. They have two beautiful children. And I think 10 years, especially in reality TV, is a milestone. A lot of people are like, well, did you take a step away from Atlanta to focus on your relationship? Because remember, she's been off of Atlanta for one season now when it was like in limbo and stuff. So it's been technically like 2 years since she took away from like reality TV. But we always knew Kandi to just be busy, and we knew Todd wanted to be busy with her. He wanted to make money with her. Was this a plan that Todd set up? Was this a scheme that Todd set up? It possibly could have, because he has made it to 10 years. And I think in the state of Georgia, when you do make it to 10 years, stuff gets dicey. Remember, there was some prenup resistance. I do believe he ended up signing the prenup, but I'm just saying, was this a scheme that Todd set up? Did he just want to make it to 10 years? You know, they've had women in their relationship. They've had third parties. They've been very open about how open and, you know, filthy it gets in the bedroom. They have been very open about that. She has fallen out with Phaedra Parks. Make sure you guys listen to my breakdown of that friendship. She has fallen out with her dear friend Phaedra Parks over stuff with Todd, and essentially over keeping Apollo's items in her garage. And I just wonder, obviously things have ended on amicable terms, but I just wonder now that she's on the other end of it, would she feel a type of way if Phaedra or someone was to keep Todd's belongings in her garage? But I don't think it's a unsuccessful marriage. I think it's a really long time in the reality TV world. I think it served its purpose. I personally always thought Todd was an opportunist, but hey, it's difficult when you already up here to meet someone that's up there, and she was willing to work with him. So that was that. But I don't know. My controversial take is like, I don't think it was an unsuccessful marriage. Now, if some stuff does come out, I mean, that's different, but it's not our business of who they invite in the bedroom. Clearly that's what they were doing to keep their relationship afloat, and that's what's become very clear to me. I was just listening to a podcast. I wasn't even listening to it. This was a social media clip, and Kandi was essentially joking about, she's like, we always have like thirds in our, you know, bedroom. Like, that doesn't mess with a relationship. And she was saying that, and I'm pretty sure she was talking to a pastor. So you guys can imagine the type of conversation that happened after this. But this was just, I thought 2 weeks ago that I saw this clip. I don't know if this was an old resurfaced clip. I don't know, but I will tell you what's now resurfacing. Old clips of Todd from his YouTube channel of him essentially insinuating that he was having relations with her friends. He's like, you wouldn't be mad if I'm smashing the homies once we're broken up. And she was like, yes. Another point of contention I want to bring up that a lot of people are bringing up on social media is this girl named Phantom. And this apparently is Sheree's friend. And she was on vacation with Todd and Kandi as a throuple on their last anniversary trip, which wasn't far ago. And I think they went, I don't know, did they go to Jamaica? They went somewhere. People are pointing that out. Like, why was she there? She's always around. There's another clip surfacing. We're going to mention it. We'll mention it all. There's another clip surfacing of Kenya Moore, you know, at her hair salon getting ready. You know, she had nothing else better to do once she was kicked off of Real Housewives of Atlanta, but to recap Real Housewives of Atlanta. So she was saying Kandi is the good time girl, essentially. You know, you don't understand what's going on, but Kandi is just a good time. She's a sweet girl, but she's going to have a good time. And essentially throughout her business, and was like, it makes you wonder, like, oh, they're on vacation. Who's that you're on vacation with? And then Kenya was like, oop, did I just drop that T? I did not mean that. Clearly, Kenya and Kandi are fine, because Kandi and Todd, to put the cherry on the sundae, have been posted up at Blaze's birthday party that happened on Sunday. Kenya was there. LaToya was there from Real Housewives of Atlanta season. Was that 10? She was on 10 or 11. It may have been later because she wasn't on with Nene. Maybe 12 or 13. Latoya was on there, which I honestly think she should come back. She was always a good time. She was a mess, honestly. Who else was there? Shamia was there. Um, Rashida was there. Rashida Frost, you know, from Love and Hip Hop. So, and Kandi and Todd took a picture with their daughter Blaze. So things are clearly amicable. Todd also went on his Instagram to poke fun at the infamous, you know, this is a scheme that Todd set up. His caption read, "Wait until you see the next scheme." You know, it was something going on along the lines of that. I'm going to try to bring it up on the screen if I can. So that was the biggest news, perhaps, of last week. It was just news after news after news, because my leading story, of course, was going to be the Mia Thornton, which I'm about to get into. But yeah, Kandi and Todd, they are done 11 years in, and I'm pretty sure they have a prenup. So I think this will go over very fast, very smoothly, and without an issue. But I don't know. Is it unsuccessful? Do you guys think it's unsuccessful? Let me know in the comments if you're listening on Spotify. Is a 11-year marriage ending mean it's an unsuccessful marriage? Because I compare this to even Kyle Richards, who's like, she was crying to like Sutton in the girls last season, how she's like, I think she was crying to Kathy Hilton and Erica Jane about like how I didn't have a successful marriage. And like, successful looks different in everyone's eyes, because a lot of people could argue your marriage with Mauricio was successful as long as you want to turn a blind eye to the cheating. You know, you guys were married for a long time, for over 20 years. So it's like, was it not a success? I don't know. Moving on to the next leading headline of mine was Real Housewives of Potomac, Mia Thornton being arrested. I am going to play the video now.
How you doing? I'm Officer Hunt, City of Atlanta Police. You know you have a warrant, correct? Okay. You know what it's for? Cool. All right, cool. So what we're going to do is I'll take you back to our precinct, finish doing my paperwork, and once that's done, you have a cell phone?
No, I said no.
Okay. So we'll go back to the precinct. I'll do my paperwork, and once that's done, then I'm going to transport you to Fulton County.
Okay.
So we just have a holding cells. We don't have like jail, just holding cells in our precinct. Okay?
Okay.
If you want to, you go ahead and throw your shoes on. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. You want to real fast? Thank you. You want your hands? Excuse me. You want your hands? Hold on. Relax for a second. Relax. You want your hands this way, or you want your hands turn them inside like you're crying? You want this way? What's your way more comfortable? Okay. Let's. Okay. All right. That's fine. We'll go that way. I'm gonna lock them so they don't move on you, okay? When we get to the holding cell, I'll take them back off for you so you can relax a little bit, all right?
Did you by any chance share that information before?
Pardon me?
No.
I didn't go, I just had somebody else go out there and give them paperwork.
Is it possible to like call him? He has the storage key.
So we got him, I mean,
Where is he still in the airport?
nah, he probably left.
Okay. Yeah, where's Miss Call?
Yeah. I just want him to go put that furniture back. Like, this is enough is enough. Like, I have several emails from my roommate telling me it's trash. It's ridiculous. Sorry.
All right, bro. Just follow me. Get the keys to the cell. Thank you. I'll take those cuffs back off of you. You can sit back down and relax for a second. So just give me about 30 minutes. Get the paperwork ready. We're ready to go, okay? I'll let you make that call in a second, too, okay?
Yeah, Mia Thornton was arrested in Atlanta on Wednesday, November 19th. This was the day after Toxic Tuesday, so of course that wasn't in last week's episode. And she is being charged with larceny, and she was accused of stealing over $11,000 worth of furniture. You know, she did leave Real Housewives of Potomac this April, and she moved to Atlanta. So she was actually arrested at the Atlanta airport, which is honestly crazy. Let's read this article from People Magazine. Well, I'll just tell you what I essentially know about it. It looks as though she moved into a condo, a fully furnished condo, and in the middle of the night, she snuck out like a thief in the night with furniture, and somebody had a truck, somebody had a U-Haul, and somebody was ready in the middle of the night to move all of that furniture out, $11,000 worth. So who knows what that could be? Was it 2 couches? I do know it was the TV. They did take the TV because somebody said it was like worth $650. People were like, that's an expensive TV. I'm like, yes, it is. But yes, she took $11,000 worth of this lady's furniture. I don't know if she emptied out the full apartment, but she, I think, was supposed to be moving out, but instead had just left in the middle of the night. So it looks like, according to a statement from the Atlanta Police Department, police said Thornton was taken into custody because she had an active warrant. So you show up at an airport with an active warrant. So the lady had already called her, and she was already at the airport trying to leave. A police report viewed by People alleges that a property management company called police on behalf of their client, who was the owner of the condo unit rented out to Thornton after furniture was allegedly removed from the property, quote unquote, in the middle of the night on October 28th. So she's had a warrant for her arrest since October 28th, and this is just coming out now. So this is crazy because obviously we know the whole Wendy and Eddie stuff, and Mia was one of the first people to be reacting very negatively, saying, you know, she would never get caught doing this. And it's like, girl, you was literally stealing just like they are. So Thornton's former landlord claimed that the quote unquote tenants also took all of the furniture which was in the unit prior to their move-in, as well as the TV, which was on the wall. So they emptied the whole thing out. They aired it out. The property that has allegedly stolen was valued at $11,000. And, you know, as you can see in the video, she is distraught. She knows exactly what the police officer is talking about. And I can't tell if on the video she says, I'm just going to tell him to give the furniture back. I don't know if she's referring to Gordon. I don't know if she's referring to Ink. I don't know if she's referring to Bobby Valentino. I can tell you what, she's probably not referring to Gordon because I don't think Gordon has it in him to do that and scheme. But it sounds like she said it's Ink, but I'm confused because as of what I knew, she was with Bobby Valentino. One thing about them tables is that they turn. And I'll tell you what, Potomac, there are a lot of thieves. There are a lot of scammers. There's a lot of fraudsters. There's a lot of alcoholics. So there's a lot going on in the city of Potomac. These ladies actually are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So now we got Dr. Wendy and Eddie currently pending trial. I'm pretty sure Mia is still sitting in jail. I think her bond is set to, or her bail is set to $2,500. I don't know why she's not out yet. I was reading something saying she failed to appear to make bail. So I don't know if she's trying to get some other stuff together. But this is just embarrassing. Like, it's embarrassing for you as a grown woman to literally go to jail for stealing furniture out of a condo. It is just very weird to me. It's very weird to me that this is kind of what's going on in Potomac. If we don't have an alcoholic, we have a fraudster. We don't have a fraudster, we have a thief. So that has been the updates. Potomac right now is, currently the Real Housewives of prison. And a lot of this is just crazy to me. So that was the news. I want to talk about staying in Potomac because Eddie and Wendy are apparently Eddie Hennessy and Pam Oliver. So they have allegedly 40 credit cards under their names and aliases. I think I said that right. And okay, perfect. I took a screenshot of the statement. See, I'm coming prepared these days. So Real Housewives of Potomac, Wendy Osefo and husband Eddie. So apparently, we know that they were arrested on October 10th, 16 felony charges, fraud charges. The prosecution has now alleged that the Real Housewives of Potomac star and her husband have quote unquote approximately 40 credit cards and or debit cards under their own names, company names, and aliases. That's where, Eddie Hennessy is coming from and Pam Oliver. Those are their two mysterious names they are going under. Some of the charges the couple is facing are felonies related to alleged false, misleading info fraud in excess of $300, which I read so terribly. Like the first time I got that, I was like, just pay that back. But that means over $300, which is considered fraud or whatever. So this is what People magazine is saying. It says the couple was arrested. We already know about that. So the prosecution is now claiming that the aliases and company names were a deliberate attempt to mask their identity. And they now additional financial records, as they argued that the pair have quote unquote approximately 40 credit cards, debit cards, some of which are believed to be in company names, and some are under the aliases of Pam Oliver and Eddie Hennessy. I don't understand why we didn't have a better name than Eddie Hennessy. Now, that is not believable. Pam Oliver, I may not know that girl. She exists, though. She exists somewhere. Now, Eddie Hennessy, the odds of an Eddie Hennessy existing are slim. So he must have been high on his own supply, that happy Eddie, when he decided to go with Eddie Hennessy as a literal name. I don't know why he would do that. Like, I just am like, I'm reading these stories in Potomac and the people are just getting dumber and dumber. If we're not stealing furniture, we're coming up with names like Eddie Hennessy. Like, you didn't have anything better than that? I don't know. So what else is this? So in court documents viewed by the Baltimore Banner, the prosecution wrote, quote unquote, the state expects such documentation to show a pattern of excessive spending supporting motive. In this case, the state avers that insurance fraud is a financial crime, and in that the amount of debt owed by the Osefos jointly, individually, and by the businesses that they own is highly relevant to their motive. In response, Eddie's attorney, so the Osefos team did release a statement and claimed that the prosecution is quote unquote looking for something that they haven't figured out after 18 months of investigating. So they're saying essentially what I got, and I'm going to read the statement because I took a screenshot of it, but this legal's defense is basically how are you investigating us this whole time and now you're dropping our financial records in efforts to, back up your proof when it's you should have already had this. It just seems like you guys are just now investigating after illegally arresting our client. I don't know how far that is, but the couple is due December 2nd, which is right before the holidays. It's due they're right before Christmas, December 2nd, to be in court. So they are being tried separately, not together. This is what the joint statement said from the Osefo legal team. At the outset, police failed to properly investigate the initial burglary despite clear indications of a break-in, displaying clear bias against the Osefo family. The Osefos heard nothing but silence from police for over 18 months. Despite complete corroboration and requests for updates, it is common knowledge that other Real Housewives cast members have also been victimized after documenting their travel on social media, yet none face this level of scrutiny or criminal charges. We believe it is deeply unjust for the Sheriff's Office and Office of the State Attorney for Carroll County to publicly expose confidential financial information about Eddie and Wendy Osefo. What is most disturbing is that the state appears to have begun investigating only after charging the Osefos, which is highly irregular approach that raises serious concerns about motive and fairness. The public release of the family's private financial details serves no lawful purpose and only invites conclusory opinions about a case the state is obviously still investigating. The Osefos have never used an alias on a financial application. This allegation is false and misleading. Such names were used for the delivery of packages following their lawful purchase to safeguard the identity of their very public figures. It is ironic for the state to assert or exaggerate the existence of any purported debt in connection with this accomplished professional couple. Due process is paramount to the administration of justice, and its breach by misleading the public with a false narrative has only compounded the harm. The defense is confident the court will prevent any further violation of those Osefos' right to fair trial. So yeah, their first court appearance is December 2nd. So that's the other gag. They're saying that those names used was for packages to be delivered and to disclose their real name. You know, if you were Beyonce, Nicki Minaj, Angela Bassett, Michelle, Barack Obama, Mariah Carey, you may use an alias for a package to be dropped off. But if you're Wendy Osefo and Eddie Osefo from Potomac, then you probably would not use an alias for a package name. So I call straight BS on that. It makes no sense. I mean, you know, have I went to a Starbucks and said my name was Sasha before? Yes. Or Kylie? Yes. Like some things you just do for fun, but now I have the Starbucks app downloaded. I can't make up names. I don't think it makes any sense for them to literally place orders under different aliases. That is the most BS excuse reasoning, and this sucks because I'm gonna talk about it. Wendy is on fire this season of Potomac. She's actually doing a very phenomenal job, and she's finally found her footing as a housewife, and I'm finally like, she's coming for the girls. Like, if it's not the outfit, I've always been a Wendy fan, but I'm just so utterly disgusted by the behavior and by the clear lies in my Kandi's voice. Like, this is clearly lies. Like, you guys were trying to do a white collar crime as a black couple, and the system failed you because what? You are not white. And it just really sucks that all this education, and yes, I said education, all this education clearly did not work. All of this, Eddie, you're a whole attorney. So it just sucks because I see her on Real Housewives of Potomac, and she's really stepping up to the game. She's really a vet now when it comes to these housewives. She's really dunking on these girls. She really is reading the girls. That Robin confessional, when she read her, she's like, "Where is Robin?" And she grabbed a drink. Like, her outfits have been eating, even though I'm like, girl, how much did that cost? Like, why are you wearing that in your kitchen? Like, why are you renovating your whole house? Like, it just sucks that after this triumph season that Wendy is clearly having, she's going to be in prison. I don't know if they're going to take a plea deal. I don't know if they're going to admit they're guilty. What we do know is she went to BravoCon and that she cannot talk about it. And what we do know is that she will be at the Real Housewives of Potomac season 11 reunion. Are we on season 11? Season 10, 11 reunion. That is what we do know. Now, will she... Oop, my iPad almost fell. Now, will she be able to talk about it at the reunion? I'm not sure, because we're not going to know how long this trial is going to start. All we know is it starts December 2nd. I don't see the reunion filming until the end of December, early January, and airing in February. I think we still have a good, 8 episodes left. 8 to 9. We're on episode 8. We might still have a good 10 episodes left. I think we might have a good 10 episodes left. So, yeah. This is just disgusting to me that they really thought they could get away with a white collar crime. I mean, like I said, unfortunately, a lot of white businessmen do this all the time. They don't get caught up. I think what Wendy and Eddie failed to realize is that they are reality TV stars and they are Black and at that Nigerian. So white collar crimes don't really apply to those that are not white. That is why they're called white collar crimes. Let's talk about Porsha. So Porsha, we thought was going to be in the midst of some drama. She was in the midst of some drama. A lot of stuff going on after the girls left BravoCon. BravoCon was last weekend. Make sure you guys give my recap a listen. I talk about all of the BravoCon headlines. We got a lot of stuff happening. If it's the ultimate road trip, it is the Real Housewives of Rhode Island trailer. We got the Persian style, the Valley trailer. It was a lot of announcements happening. But it was a lot of stuff happening as the women were departing that Sunday evening, Monday morning. On Porsha's way back to Atlanta, she got into it with someone she was sitting next to, essentially, and I will play that security video as well if I can. Essentially, she was on Instagram scrolling. I guess the flight did not take off yet. She was listening. She was on whatever loudly. I don't think it was that loud. I just think it was loud because, like, you when you're on the airplane, you hear the jets, all that stuff. So everything just sounds super loud. So she probably turned it up. They weren't taking off yet. The lady next to her, a Karen, a reptilian Karen, was sitting next to her. And she said, well, am I going to have to listen to that the whole flight? And I guess, Porsha took offense to how she asked that. She was like, you could ask that in a nicer way. I guess they got into a screaming match. The reptilian Karen is alleging that Porsha smacked her phone out and you could see it slide across. But as Porsha is telling this story to the cops that are awaiting her exit off the airplane along with the reptilian, multiple passengers have came up to Porsha at this point and essentially were like, hey, are you okay? I saw the whole thing. Like, you did not touch her. Like, if you need something, like this one passenger came up, was like, here, take my information down. And you could tell these people did not know who Porsha was, but you could tell Porsha was provoked. You could tell Porsha definitely was about it, but she just knew it was not worth it. This is an older lady. Like I said, that's what happened. Now, this incident now has been cleared by the FBI, which I was hoping for because it seems both parties, there was just nothing clear that came of it. So I'm reading this from page 6, which this was posted on, I think today. It says, we just received word from the United States Attorney's Office that they have determined that no crime has been committed and that the FBI will not pursue any further investigative actions regarding this matter. While Ms. Williams is certainly pleased to have received this news today, we cannot say that we are surprised given that there was never a physical encounter and given that the allegations made against Ms. Williams by the unhinged passenger were blatantly false from the beginning. Ms. Williams offers her sincere thanks to the many witnesses who took time from their schedules to come forward and provide statements to law enforcement and to the agents who worked so hard to uncover the truth. Like I said, multiple, oh my gosh, and now there's like this photo of Porsha literally in her abs. Those look fake, but she looks good. I don't, wow, her abs look really fake. It looks amazing, but I don't know if they're real. So yeah, like I said, while she's recounting the story to the officer, also Meredith Marks tweeted, she was like, interesting, because clearly if there was such a huge situation that happened on an airplane like this, which didn't even seem that huge, it kind of was just given black versus white, and they wanted to investigate it. Because Meredith Marks has been in the midst of all of this plane stuff on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, she did tweet, and she was like, interesting. She tweeted something. I'm gonna try to find the tweet and put it on the screen if I can. She said something, and essentially just saying like, well, clearly if I had did something, the cops would have been waiting to escort me off, which has been her biggest defense, is like, there was no police waiting for me. There was no FBI. Like, clearly it wasn't that big of a deal as you guys are making it about my outlandish response to Brittany and me like taunting her and stuff. She was saying for the longest it wasn't that big of a deal. The girls are like, girl, it was that big of a deal. Anyway, Porsha has been cleared. This woman was alleging that she thought Porsha was going to kill her. She did not seem well. She had a shaky vibe, like she needed a cigarette break. So I don't know. I just felt like it was honestly purported to something it probably wasn't. I learned that from my good sis, Dr. Wendy, who I'm still upset about for all of this stuff. But yeah, that was the Porsha stuff. I'm glad it's going nowhere because last thing we need is Porsha getting into it with someone else. Another altercation. This happens, every 2 years with her. Like, we're just like, Porsha, sit down. And it looks like she was sitting down. And the lady was shook. She was shooketh. But like I said, that could be like coffee withdrawals or cigarette withdrawals. She did not look well. Other housewife news. This is definitely going to be supersized episode because I want to talk about 2 more things. Really, I want to talk about a couple more things. Jen Shah is getting released. And it's crazy because I think when I started my pod, I don't know if Salt Lake City was on or I was talking about it a little bit here and there. I wasn't really talking about it like I'm talking about it now. I was one of the people that was counting down Jen Shah's release because it was moving mad funny to me. As the people from Brooklyn say, New York City, period. It was mad funny how quick her time kept getting chop, 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 chop. It kept getting chopped down. I'm like, this girl's about to be out of here by the new year. I literally said that. I said the new year, or I said like Easter, because she wasn't supposed to get out until next year, December. Her time has dramatically been decreasing. I'm very interested to see what Ebony K. Williams says about this. Because normally Carlos King does like an interview with her whenever there's like an update and like this legal stuff. And I'm wondering if he's going to do an updated one because she was one of the people that said like, you just don't get time off for good behavior. But I'm like, what do we call this? If Jen Shah is literally getting out for good behavior, for her involvement in activities and programs, that is literally why her time keeps getting shaved down. And now she is literally getting out December 10th. She's getting out December 10th. Her 4-year serving has now turned into just a little bit over 2 years. It was supposed to be 4 years. She's getting out December 10th. Jen, like her prison sentence has kept getting reduced. So I was very confused if Ebony K. Williams is saying you don't get out for good behavior. I'm like, what the heck is this then? Because this is good behavior. And now she's getting out. People, there's mixed vibes. There's mixed reviews. People are like, let's put Jen Shah on so she can join Lisa Barlow and Meredith Marks, team up and take the other girls down. Because people are like, oh my gosh, Lisa Barlow, she's constantly being attacked. I don't really care. Do I think she's constantly being attacked? No. I don't think she's being constantly attacked. I think that woman has a clear issue with accountability. So hey, I'm here for it. Someone that's getting attacked, Stacey. We're gonna talk about that later. I want to see Jen Shah back on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I know it's controversial. I don't really care. I want Jen Shah back on Salt Lake City. I want her back in a bathtub cussing Heather Gay out to drown her. I want... I'm sorry. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City was one of the highest rated franchises. We saw her in Homeland Security show up. It is not one of the highest rating, but obviously it's changed since it premiered. Streaming is very much the center point of watching shows. However, people are like, she was so miserable when she was on. She was scheming. When she first came on, we were all like, who is this heifer? Like, this girl was doing the most. Guilty. I wanted to be Shah Amazing. I liked Jennifer Shah. Is that her full name? I don't know. I wanted to be Jen Amazing, Shah Amazing. Like, I liked her first season. She was scheming. She got caught up. She got stressed out. And she started lashing out. She's done her time. I don't know if Andy would ever let her back because it's pretty clear he would prefer Monica Garcia, which we could have back. But for me, it's just so clear that Monica is such a fan. Even now she is doing recaps of Salt Lake City with Carlos King. And I'm like, when you get to that point as a former housewife, it was like when Kenya Moore was doing recaps of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Like, I wanted the recap of the episode where the lady was literally threatening you with a gun and then the whole meaning behind you and who is this hoe. Those 2 episodes, great. But when you're recapping the whole thing, giving us secrets, letting us know who's going to be on next season, I kind of think you're a fluke. So now I'm kind of looking at Monica Garcia. I'm like, you're so desperate to get back on reality TV. You couldn't even be on House of Villains because she didn't even pass the mental test. So she had to be a narrator. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I don't want to see Monica Garcia. Like, in retrospect, did she do anything as bad as Jen Shah? No. But when I'm talking about something that would literally break the internet, something that would break Peacock's streaming device, is the return, or a sit down at least, of Andy Cohen and Jen Shah. I would like to see Jen Shah come back in some resurgence, whether it is her on her knees begging for forgiveness, or whether it is her on some, you know what, I did it, I'm owning it. Now, which one of y'all was talking about me while I was gone? Like, come on, because y'all continue to talk about her. They continue to talk about Jen Shah. So you want to keep talking about Jen Shah? Let's bring her on. Let's have her mention it. Let's mention it all, in the words of Bethany Frankel. And let's see how the girls get along with that. I want to see Heather Gay a little shook. I think she's gotten a little too comfortable. And I want to see Heather Gay look her in the eye and say, why did you punch me and give me a black eye? Is that too much to ask for? I don't think so. So that is my hot take. Let's see what People Magazine is saying about her release. So it says People can reveal exclusively. Again, People Magazine is getting the exclusive. They have the money to give out, or people are giving them the money to get these stories exclusively told. So People can reveal exclusively the Federal Bureau of Prisons has approved a December 10th departure date for the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City alum. The decision marks the latest reduction to the 6.5-year sentence she's been serving since February 2023. So guys, she was supposed to serve 6.5 years in prison. She only served 2 years and a little time over. If that's not good behavior, I don't know what is. Since her role in the long-running nationwide telemarketing scheme. Quote unquote, everyone's very grateful for the BOP's decision, especially because it means Jen will be able to reunite with her family for the holidays. So it's crazy because one housewife is coming home for the holidays and another one may be going away, Dr. Wendy and Eddie. Quote unquote, Jen's in a really positive, hopeful place mentally. He adds she's done a lot of reflecting and a real growth during her time away and is genuinely not the same woman as she was before. Her focus is on her family and building a healthier, more grounded life. She understands the seriousness of the mistakes she made and is excited to put this chapter behind her so that she can show everyone the woman she's worked hard to become. For privacy, safety, and security reasons, we do not discuss any incarcerated individuals' conditions of confinement or specific release plans. So that's been the other thing. Is like, yes, Jen Shah is getting out, but we don't know if she's going to be able to go home or is she going to go to a halfway house, which a lot of prisoners that do get out on shorter amount of times end up having to do. They do end up having to go to a halfway house because, you know, it might be a halfway house for X amount of time. So we don't know if she's going to be going home or to the halfway home. Either way, she will not have to be in that gray 2-piece sweatsuit anymore, and she can be at home. 6 years to 2 years. I ask the question again. If that's not good behavior, I don't know what is. Like, I really don't know what is. All right, we have just 2 more reality topics I did want to talk about before moving on to Real Housewives of Potomac. And I'm going to talk a little bit about The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I'm reserving that until the reunion in general, though. But I don't know. The season was not giving for me. I think they are... I'll give my brief thoughts on that. Jenna Lyons, Real Housewives of New York, fashion icon, Rockefeller Center, Christmas holiday time designer, has announced her departure from RHONY. In an Instagram statement, she did let us know that she will not be returning to the franchise. And honestly, like, who needs to return at this point? Like, none of them really do unless you're Luann, Dorinda. I really want to see Luann and Dorinda back on my screen. Okay, so she said the rumors are true. So here's the backstory. I didn't even know there was rumors out there, so whatever. So here's the backstory. I was grateful to be asked to join season 16 of RHONY as a friend of, knowing my personal life was not really available to to be filmed. We agreed that made sense. And after thinking it through, I have made the difficult decision not to return to the show. I would be the oldest and openly gay woman on the show and feel like this is an opportunity for a new dynamic to emerge. Love the girls, though. And so she basically let us know Raquel's not coming back either. She was not asked back because she said she would have been the oldest and the openly gay woman on the show. And she felt like it was an opportunity for a new dynamic to emerge. So she said, I love the girls, and this is who she at. She at Aaron. We know Aaron has been in the mix. Bravo has been trying to make Aaron happen like Gretchen was trying to make Fetch happen. I don't understand why. So she at Aaron. She at Jessel, Sai, Uba, and Raquel. She did not at Bren at all, though. And her message actually continued after saying, I love the girls. She said, I have so much respect and gratitude to the entire Bravo team who produced the show with grace and care. I am so grateful to Andy for the opportunity and support. I am grateful to Sesson for always treating us with so much respect and kindness. I am grateful to the entire team at Shed who handle all of our nonsense and egos with patience. And most importantly, to all the fans who have said hi on the street, asked for a photo, supported me here on Instagram. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's so incredible, meaningful. I will be watching and bitching from the sidelines with love and outfit judgment. Well, girl, I'm just saying, Jenna Lyons, you may be a fashion icon, but you are not a housewife icon because you brought nothing to the show. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, the icon you are. She showed up in a robe for the reunion. That alone showed me how much care she had for Housewives and Bravo in general. I personally thought she was a waste of money to be spent because she didn't want to talk about it. How are you going to have your girlfriend's mother on the show, but you don't want to have the girlfriend on the show? That was not reading for me. So she will not be missed. And other topics I do want to talk about, I don't really watch Real Housewives of Orange County, but this is something you have to talk about because it looks like I do know who Meghan King is. I dibbled and dabbled and watched OC. I really watched it when Kelly Dodd was on, but I do know who Meghan King is. And unfortunately, she has lost the parental rights, lost custody to her children. And yeah, all three of her children. So this was on November 19th. A lot of stuff was happening in Housewife World last week. They said, okay, so US Weekly broke the news on November 19th that King had lost custody of the three children she shares with Edmonds, 8-year-old, and then 7-year-old twin boys, Hart and Hayes, and then her 8-year-old Aspen, whose birthday was this week, and she posted it, a picture, a tribute to her daughter, saying she missed her and how she's a big believer now in human rights, whatever. Multiple sources told US Weekly that the decision was made in the last couple of months, but the former Bravo star retains supervised visitation rights with the minors. Edmonds, 55, has sole physical custody of the three children. A source told US Weekly that the decision is temporary pending a hearing to determine whether the custody arrangement will become permanent. A hearing is scheduled for December to determine further custody arrangements. King and Edmonds were married 2014 to 2019. Edmonds filed for divorce from the former reality television star one day after the couple's 5th wedding anniversary. The exes finalized their divorce 2021. Edmonds is now remarried to his current wife, Courtney or O'Connor, in September 2022. I don't know much about that relationship, but that is shocking to me. Kelly Dodd has since came out to really go to bat and defend her in that decision, but we don't know why that has happened. That is, like I said, very unfortunate, but that is it for today. I also did want to mention, I don't talk about politics, but I had to because this is what's the reality. But Marjorie Greene Taylor did I say that wrong? I can't even get her name right. I said Marjorie Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene has stepped down from Congress and she's resigning in January. And I just think that shows a bigger, there's something definitely going on with the MAGAs. They are not getting along right now. And she has been very open about, condemning what Trump has done on that Epstein Island and wanting the files out and how he's been threatening her. So, unfortunately, Trump has said that her stepping down is great news for the country. But she just said her she said both sides were not even like doing the right thing. I think her like soul and spirit can't really sit with what the Republicans and the Democrats are doing, like both of them. And I think the whole files thing was really a point of contention for her. I will never forget when Jasmine Crockett called her a bad built body, a bad built butch body. So that's what I know her as. But period, one less Republican in Congress. So hopefully I can go to Democrat and hopefully we can get some seats flipped, because this is not what America is. But Beyonce was right. America does have a problem. Let's talk about the ladies that do have a problem over there in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I'm not talking about the Housewives. I'm talking about the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Like, so this season was a continuation of last season and what happened on Vanderpump Villa. And I'm like, we don't have anything else better to talk about than Marinara and Jesse bumping, because they did a lie detector test. They have text exchanges. So it left off with Marinara. I know his name's Marciano, but I call him Marinara. Telling Layla from season 2. Also, I do love how Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, they get these seasons out and they are like telling us the tea of what's happened between the tea and all the stuff. They are really good with that. I will say that Housewives could learn a thing or two. Their filming is really good. It's like, we don't miss a beat. We're picking up from the reunion. So we're leaving off from Layla and learning that Jesse and Marinara have had an alleged affair. She confronts Jesse. Jesse's like, yes, it's true, but I already dealt with this with my husband. I can't believe he's bringing this up to you now, especially on camera. She didn't think this was going to hit camera. This has been the whole storyline now. Their affair, Demi's involvement, because Demi was involved. She was sending pictures of her daughter to Marciano, of her daughter praying. She was FaceTiming him. They have text messages, and now Demi is the worst type of girl of all, because now you are guilty of having an inappropriate relationship. Now you're accusing this man of sexual assault. I do not think Marciano at all is guilty of sexual assault. And I will say that, especially the way she described it, because he kissed her or something. The way she described it, like he pecked her on the cheek. I don't know. It seems like she's really trying to cover her ass because she was talking to him when she had no business doing it. And I just think those are the worst, dangerous type of women. Those are the type of women that do make it hard to believe of a situation. And then her trying to use Miranda and Macy's story as essentially like, I would have assumed you guys, or I think it's Michaela and Macy's story as like, I would have assumed you guys would have believed me. Demi, you were clicking all the way down. Either way, she ends the season off being cool with the girls, but Jen Affleck still don't trust her. We see how Jen and Whitney get picked to be a part of Dancing with the Stars. We also see Whitney kind of rejoin the group, which honestly, I like Whitney at this point because she's a real one. She's like, you know what? I am back because I just heard we could have possibly the chance to be on Dancing with the Stars. Unfortunately, though, for Whitney, while Dancing with the Stars is airing, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is airing, and she got voted off, even though a lot of people felt like she should have stayed on because she's been a consistent great dancer. I don't watch Dancing with the Stars, but I am satisfied with who's left. I really do want Jordan Childs to win or Dylan Efron because period. But that is really the consensus of it. It's just really been a lot about this affair. We're also seeing Michaela open up about her sexual abuse as a kid, and she really hasn't became open of who's done it, or if she said it, it's really been blocked out. But she's opening up about that, and yeah, and then we see kind of the same old Dakota and my girl Taylor getting back into it. They tried to make it work, but now Dakota was messing with her family friend that is literally her family friend, her mom's family friend. And it's messy. And now we have the reunion coming up. I think it's coming up on Jen Shah's release date. And Stassi's hosting it, Stassi Schroeder. So yes, I will spill more when I don't have other things to talk about, like Potomac. But that was really the consensus. I just did not give it a very good rating. I thought it was like, if I'm being honest, compared to the other seasons, I don't know, it just was too much with the Marciano, Jesse stuff. I really don't care. Like, you told your husband, yada, yada, yada. I just think that storyline dragged on for way too long. it just dragged on for way too long. And yeah, I was just looking forward to something else happening. And of course, Dakota and Taylor did not fail me because they always got something going on. I'm wondering when the next season's gonna be out. I'm assuming pretty soon, probably like March, April, because like I said, they get these seasons out very fast. Housewives could learn a thing or two, but I'm really want to talk about Potomac. I did watch that today, and I have some thoughts. So we left off with Monique rejoining the girls at Ashley's Pride event, and I will say Ashley does look good as a man. As a man, she does look very good. I don't know if it's the beard with the inches or like with the side boob, but I don't know. She really was doing something for the girls. She was doing something for Stacy. She was doing something for Tia. She was doing something for the girls. Like, I was actually eating it up. So Monique is joining the group with a very honest, very humble heart, I feel like, because she's letting these girls into her business. Now, I did not watch Love and Marriage DC, which was canceled after one season, because the main pick of that show was Monique and Chris going on there. And apparently on Twitter, social media, the people are saying, you know, she's just trying to clean her image now on Potomac because on DC, she really showed her ass and just like how mean she kind of is. They were saying on Love and Marriage DC that it was pretty clear that Chris had, you know, took all of the criticism and stuff she was saying, and he was trying to move forward in the relationship. And it seems as though Monique just still could not stand him and really just wanted out and really came off as, like I said, like an asshole. So now she's kind of like used this as like damage repair or repair. What is it? Like control damage control. My words are mingled up. That's what she's trying to do, maybe at least right now. And so some viewers are saying that. What I will say, I am shocked with what she's admitted. So she did admit to Giselle, you know what, I'll never forget when I first came into this group and I was telling you guys about how like me and Chris always argue around my birthday, and you kind of clocked my tea immediately. You were like, what do you think he's only arguing with you because this is the one day that's about you? And narcissists do that. The one days that are about you, the days that are about you, the days that you really look forward to, the moments you get really excited about, they end up making it about themselves. So she really did open up to this group. But before all of that, Kay tries to get stuff started and it just doesn't work because you delivered the message so wrong. Like I said in my last Toxic Tuesday, she's like, well, I'm shocked. Stacy, you don't know Monique. And then Giselle's like, you mean because she knows Chris? And Monique, there's no gag. Monique's like, I don't know why I would know her if she's dating my husband, my ex-husband. And she said, we've been divorced for over 2 years. I really don't care what he's doing. And it was no gag. And Kay again was left looking dumb. Pretty, but dumb. So I don't know. I just be over Kay. I'm really over her because that's not the only thing she does in this episode that really peeves me off. She does something else and I'm just like, girl, you need to stop with the aggressive dramatic behavior. You were giving me the ick. And like there was no gag. Monique's like, we've been divorced for over 2 years. I don't care who he's dating. I just hope she's good with kids. And that's what she said in her confessional. And we clearly know Stacey's good with kids. She loves Arabella. Like, I'm like, are we really about to make Chris Daniels the 8th housewife when it should have been Jossie? I don't know. So yeah, Monique did open up about what really went wrong with her relationship and how like she really has always wanted out since her daughter was like 6 months old, and she just woke up one day and was like, I cannot do this. We have a new nasally voice in the group and it is freaking Angel. Her voice is so freaking annoying, and people might say my voice is annoying. I actually gotten that before. I love that you hate it, but no, Angel's voice is so annoying. Like, it's so nasally. It's like Brit Edie annoying. And I feel like with Angel, she always try to sound smarter than who she is. Like, I don't know. She could be a smart girl, but she has a very, y'all talk about Wendy, but she does have a very professor educatey type of voice where she's kind of like always trying to school you or something. I clocked that immediately with her. Angel, we are in episode 8. And she still has an issue with the fact that Wendy was adding flavor to what Giselle said. She has somehow rewritten in her whole mind the whole situation that happened when they were on vacation. I don't even remember where they were on vacation because it happened so long ago. And why are we still talking about it? You should have just addressed it then and there. But she's really upset that Wendy called her a catfish when she never did. She said, Giselle is saying you purport yourself as one person on social media than what you are in person. She never used the term catfish. In fact, it was Giselle that used that. So all this energy you still have for Wendy is just giving, why are you so obsessed with me, Mariah Carey? You know, Eminem. But I don't know. Angel, she just is like, I feel like she takes... And I feel like Giselle said this perfectly in this episode. She was like, her reactions are delayed. So it's like something could have happened last week and you bringing it up now 3 weeks later, a month later almost, about how it bugged you when it's like you should have been mentioned this. Like, why are your reactions so delayed? So that's annoying. Okay. A situation happens. We are now getting from Kay that Cookie and Kay were on the phone. Chris Samuels just so happened to be calling Cookie. And he's like, I'm getting word that Monique is still talking about me. I thought we moved past this. And I don't know, guys. I'm just about to get my gloss because this is like, at this point, like I said, add Chris Samuels to the freaking lineup. Like, I'm so exhausted of the storyline. Cookie was cool and all at first. She was funny, a Kiki, a good presence for Karen, who has been MIA in prison. She's out now. Guys, I'm redoing my whole lip because I'm so sick of talking about this storyline. I'm so sick of talking about Chris Samuels. Okay, so basically they're saying Stacey is the one that told Chris Samuels the whole story and ran it back. How do we know that? We don't know that. We don't even know if Stacey and Chris Samuels are still cool, but they have it in their head, their little heads, that Stacey is the one that has went back to Chris Samuels to relay this information of what Monique was saying about him. Did it happen? Did it not happen? I don't know. So next scene, we have Giselle throwing a party. Her and Robin's podcast, Reasonably Shady, has reached 10 million downloads. It is a big deal. I just reached 1,000 downloads a couple of weeks ago, and that was a big deal to me. I think I'll throw a party at like 10,000 downloads, or like a little dinner or something. But 1,000 was like a big deal to me, and I've only been doing this for 4 months, 5 months. So that was a big deal to me. So 10 million downloads, that is a lot. That is amazing. I think that's a big thing. The only thing is Robin did not want to go because she has an issue with how she exited the show, which is she was fired from the show. So she has an issue with the fact that she was fired with the show. People on social media that I don't know how Robin Dixon has any stands, but they're like, clearly she only didn't come because the check wasn't looking right. Y'all, she didn't come because she was in her feelings, and Giselle clearly was affected by that because this is y'all's event. It's being filmed clearly, and you don't want to come because you have an issue with how you departed the show. So it's looking like you won't be coming back to the show if you're still in your feelings. You can't even show up for your own podcast. This is a huge accomplishment. 10 million downloads? I thought she was lying. 10 million downloads is a huge deal. And the fact that Robin Dixon cannot show up, and in the words of Wendy, was sitting on that couch, where's Rob? Clicking down. And not to admit, she was at BravoCon, and people were saying like she was only at BravoCon because of Traders. That's the only reason she got invited, because of the Traders panel. And she did another panel, but like nobody watched that panel. So it's just kind of like, that's the only reason she was really there, is because of the Traders panel. And I forgot they had a Traders panel. I didn't even watch that one because the Traders reunions be so dry. It's never that deep, y'all. Now, I want to watch the reunions with the real people, not the celebrities, because the real people, there'd be some real people like, you really scammed me out of all this money. These celebrities, you can make that back with a sponsor, like a sponsor, like an advertisement. Like, it's never that deep. So the reunions always run a little dry for me, but I always think it's funny watching the real people, because I'm like, y'all are really hurt when you signed up for a game. But Robin did not want to show up for that. So we get that information. We also get a meeting between Stacy and Tia where, Tia is meeting Tiermo. And I think they're at Arabella's like swim meet or something. And Stacy clearly feels comfortable to have Tia meet him. So that's that. And then Tia's like, well, I'm going out with, Wendy and Eddie for dinner. Why don't you lot? I love when they say that. Why don't you lot? Come and we can do like a threesome thing, right? And basically they were like, well, yeah, I'm gonna be out of town. And Stacey's like, yeah, I'll be out of town. He'll be out of town. We can't do that. It was kind of weird, but it was just like, okay, he's out of town, whatever. He's gonna be out of town tonight for dinner tomorrow, okay? Or like in defense of T, I'm like, you could just said, oh, I don't think we'll be able to make it, like we have plans. Like you didn't have to say you're gonna be out of town, especially because now she's meeting up with Wendy. And this is after she has told Tia, like, you're the only person I kind of feel comfortable bringing him around. You are a really good friend to me. So, of course, Tia goes back and tell Wendy's that. And Wendy, as the vet housewife she is, she calls up Stacy right then and there. And Stacy has her professor voice on, her QVC voice on, and she's like, Tia, I don't really appreciate you stirring up things between me and Wendy. And that was just hilarious to me because she was like, Tia's like, no, you have an issue because you can't keep up with your story. So now Stacy is telling Wendy that the fact they weren't there is because they just couldn't make it. You know what I mean? But Tia's like, you told me he was going to be out of town. And I was like, I just saw him. Or she said that he just came back from out of town. She's like, I just saw you. You weren't just out of town. So, Stacy just got caught up in a lie. She was lying. And I don't know why. And Tia calls her out on it. And a lot of people are like, Tia's dragging on, but it's like, no, like, don't make me look like a liar now, the reason you can't come. And then she's also saying, I never said that about, me and you's relationship, Wendy. Like, she's also throwing that in there when it's like, Tia was like, you did say this to me. And I think Tia's biggest thing is like, don't make me look to be a liar. So, hey, I wasn't mad at Tia. I still like Stacy. I still like Wendy. Flaws and all, frauds and all. Like, I still like them, but I'm just like, Stacy, I do recognize you have a lying issue, and that's something you really need to go get checked out because she does have a lying issue. And I wonder, is that why her breath is so hot? Because she does lie all the time, and it's hard to keep up with all the lies you're telling. But that was a lie. So we get the group, the reasonably shady party, which Robin is not at because she's in her feelings on the couch. And Angel is still talking about Wendy. Now she's talking about Wendy to Giselle. Giselle don't really care. Giselle's at her party, right? I wouldn't care. Why are you bringing this up to me? Bring it up to Wendy. Also, this happened like when? But now we're also getting Kay coming in hot. And this is what I mean when I say with Kay, like, her energy is never welcoming or inviting. It's very performative. It's very like, I'm looking around the scene to make sure the cameras are on me. I am making sure the women are looking at me. I'm making sure I'm talking loud enough, so let me scream. So she brings up the information that Cookie told her that Chris Samuels basically knows what Monique was saying. And keep in mind, Monique and Wendy already had a conversation this episode, and Monique does not like Cookie. So she said, whenever that lady is involved, I don't want any parts of it because she will not be telling the truth. So Monique already don't trust Cookie, and she's shocked to find out that Cookie and Karen are like best friends, and Cookie and Giselle are like best friends or whatever. So that's that. I also want to point out, like, we still know that that Wendy and Candace are good friends because Wendy talks about the reason she never reached out to Monique. She reached out to Monique after the reunion on some like, hey, once she got divorced, like, hey, how you doing? And I think after the reunion. But she said, I would never reach out to her because you the one that beat up my friend. So we're still seeing Wendy claim Candace as her friend. She's like, that was still wrong to me. I still don't agree with that. Like, you beat up my friend. That aside, they are now on the same show together. You have to coexist or you're going to get a yellow slip from the producers like, hey, step it up, or a pink slip. I don't know. Did he get an orange slip? They get a warning. Wendy and Giselle were both given warnings ahead of last season to step it up. We got Robin and Candace off. You guys need to make nice because they're calling us colorists. There's a lot of issues with this show. Like, they both got warnings to perform, and that's what they've been doing ever since. So fast forward, you can see Kay is clearly uncomfortable. I kind of compare this to when Cynthia had to bring up the Mr. Chocolate rumors at dinner. She was so uncomfortable, and there's a projector telling her, bring up Mr. Chocolate. And you can tell Kay is very uncomfortable, but she's trying to get it off like a thug. Like, I'm about to bring it up. I'm about to drop something on you. Stacey handled her like a pro. She wrapped her up like a sushi roll, and she literally ate her up. Just like she ate Cookie up, because Cookie's like, don't put your finger in my face. And she's like, what finger? In the words of Whitney Rose, I'm gonna put both fingers on your face. And she wrapped that whole crew up. Giselle ain't have nothing to say. She's handling the girls with ease. She wrapped them all up. Now, Tia did clock Stacey, which I think was right. But I think Kay just comes off very aggressive. She comes off very aggressive, and I just hate to even repeat the whole angry black woman trope. But if you were writing a novel or watching a Tyler Perry movie, I would place Kay in the angry black woman trope because I am so sick of her stuff. She is so bitter, and she's just so aggressive. She don't know 0 to 100, and I even think Wendy's like, what is the point of you bringing up this information right now? Like, what is literally the point? Because it makes no sense. Like, it just makes no sense, especially because Monique's not here. Like, why do we care? And how do you know it was Stacey that was the one that was literally telling Chris Samuels this? It could have been anyone at that table. How do we know it's Stacey? Especially if Stacey's back together with her husband. Like, the ladies have tried to ostracize Stacey out of this group, and it'll be very interesting to see who switches up come the reunion and tries to really, welcome Stacey, as we saw Alexia and Marisol kind of really welcome Gertie, or try to, or even Adriana at BravoCon. It'll be very interesting to see who warms up to Stacey come reunion, because as you can see, she is a fan favorite now, and a lot of the people wanted to meet Stacey at BravoCon, and yeah, she's just a fan favorite. You guys have talked about her so much. She's now a fan favorite. But that was really the episode. Cookie was trying to do so much, like saying, don't point at me, and Kay's like, you have to calm down. Like, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing because the after show is out. The ladies look amazing. Wendy looks amazing. And I'm just like, Wendy, how much did that cost? Please stop spending money that you don't have. She's stressing me out because I know she's going to jail. After show came out, and the girls are like, Cookie's one breast could blow someone out. But Stacey was not scared. And Jossie was like, Stacey, like, stop talking. Like, you guys, Stacey's from Detroit. It doesn't matter. It's like a Kenya Moore, like, okay, I don't fight, but you're not about to threaten me, telling me to get my finger out your face. And it's like, Cookie, I can just tell you're a little thirsty too. Do you want to sleep with Chris Samuels as well? I don't know what's going on. Why do we care what Chris Samuels is doing? This man and Monique have not been together for 2 years. They've been divorced for 2 years. Who knows how long they were separated before the divorce was finally finalized? You know what I mean? Like, it's not the gag you guys think it is. So, I don't know. It was a good episode. I'm enjoying Potomac, but this is where they kind of lose me. Quick little thing on Salt Lake. I love seeing Mary back in church and the ladies throwing it back. And I loved Whitney saying, literally Lisa and Meredith showing up would be like two whores burning in church, and it clips to a scene of them sweating. Also, the Church of Satan is crazy, Lisa. I don't even know why she brought that up. The Church of Satan did tweet, this is not Satan enthusiasts. This is just atheists that do not believe in anything. But I feel like, why would you go with that? You could have said the Church of Atheism. But they did tweet. They said they've never asked for tequila from her brand, from Vita Tequila. They've never inquired about tequila donations. So there goes Lisa lying again, but we knew that. But that was an episode of Toxic Tuesday. I hope you guys loved it. We will have the part 2 of The Hills this week. It'll be a busy week. It is Thanksgiving week, but definitely look forward to that. Part 2 of The Hills. I'm talking about everything that was fake and staged on The Hills because it was a lot. So stay tuned for that for Friday, Black Friday. And yes, I will see you on Friday and next Toxic Tuesday. Until the next time.